All right, everybody. So, what we're going to do tonight is rather than walking through all of the images and the changes that were made, I'm only going to concentrate on one. And I've already set up some so that you can see what's going on. So, this is probably what you're used to, and this is the bad part of retouching, where you can see that we took a normal looking person, made them into a stick figure. And if you look really close, it didn't do a very good job of it um, because of her legs, but it thinned out her face, it thinned out her body. This goes into the category of things that I don't do. We have another one here where it thinned out her face. Now, I'm not saying anything against the programs that were used when I did these. They're they're only putting forth the tools that the photographers want. Photographer will say, "Hey, this is what I do in my normal work. So I want this tool to be here so it saves me time." And I know some photographers change body shapes and things. And this just is not the same beautiful face. Let's take a look at a couple of examples where it did a better job, or well, actually, where I didn't touch the face. These are just where tools were used to enhance the photograph. Now, in this first one, you're also going to see how much a tool can mess up. So you can see it did a very good job of making those eyes pop. Her hair looks like it has highlights. The face looks good, but look at the black. Look at the rest of her body. It picked up a lot of what would normally be noise in a photograph. It added grain to it. But if you look at just the eyes, it did a really good job of making those eyes pop. Got another one down here. Jory again, and this time it did a better job, and you can see those eyes really pop. It enhanced the photograph a little bit more and pull those eyes out. So what I want to do now is we're going to take a look at a different photograph, and I'm going to run it through one of the tools. I think I might actually use the perfectly clear tool. Which is the one that did such a great job on the eyes themselves. Let me get the picture here. Or get all my filters turned off so I can get to the picture. And this is what we're going to start out with. Good head-on look at the camera, so we should be able to see what we can do about the eyes. So we're just going to use the one tool here. I will occasionally use multiple tools and then modify what the tool does or how much the tool does. Now, if you'll see here, the tool itself has a strength to it where you can change it. But let's see how it did so far. So if we pull this across, that's what it looked like before. And this is after. And I can just click here to turn it back and forth really quick. Now, I don't want to get into all the things these tools do, but it found her face. That's the most important part here, is finding the face. Now, these are what it did for the eyes. And that's what it looked like beforehand. And here you go. Now, back in the days when everybody shot flash, you would get that red eye. They have a tool put in here to take out that red eye. You can enlarge the eyes. This, again, changes the face and just isn't something that I would want to do. In her case, she doesn't want to enlarge the eyes, which is fine. If you have dark circles, which she does a little bit, you can see how it took those away. Catch lights. In a normal photograph, there is a light source that's hitting the eye. You can see it right there with the catch lights off. But when you're shooting in a studio and you're not using natural light, you're going to have a different light source. And this allows you to pick which light source you want. You can do a ring light, which is that circular light in the eyes, and you can just make it out. It's subtle. It's not something that's going to overtake the image, but it's just to add that little bit of spark back in the eye. You can whiten the teeth. A lot of people will whiten the teeth or do something with the lips. This is where the face contouring comes into play. Again, this is exaggerated because I've got it cranked up all the way, but even a little bit, you're changing the look of the person. Not cool. Not something I want to do, but it is something that's in the tool set. Now, you've seen my other ones where I take care of transitory blemishes in the face, a bit of lighting, something that's just not quite there. This has an entire section that does nothing but handle that. And the way it does it is it typically blurs certain areas of the face and things. It's not the way I do it. And again, it's not something that I want to have a tool do for me. I want to do it myself. There are a couple things in here that I would do. Shine maybe, but definitely infrared. Now, the reason there's an infrared removal on here is digital cameras can pick up more frequencies than our eyes can. So they can have this infrared pickup that just throws the image off just a little bit. You can do skin toning. You can put foundation on the faces. So there's a lot of things these tools will do. You'll notice I use very little of them. Just to punch up the color a little bit. Make sure my exposure and everything are good. I might dial the contrast up. Make sure my depth is good. All right, so it's setting her off from the background just a bit. You can change the exposure in here, which depending on where you're going, you might need to do. This to me digitally looks good, but if I were to print this image, for example, this might be a little dark. Because there's a difference between having something on a backlit screen and having something printed on paper. So if I'm doing digital photos for a client, I will keep that in mind, that I actually have two sets of photographs. I have the set of photographs that are going to go to the printers, and I have the other set of photographs that have been modified so that they'll look good on social media, for example, something that has a backlit to it. And when you're done, it's as simple as saving the image off, but now look what happened. This is the image that came back, and you can see that it has quite a bit of artifact in the image itself, making it unusable for most anything. Now, I've noticed that certain tools will have that uh, problem, that when they go back into Lightroom, they experience some kind of change in what's coming out of the output of the program itself. So just because we've got the time, let's throw another program up here. Again, as I said, these guys put together things that people ask for. So they can make changes quickly and easily. To see what they like. You just go right into edit. The image seemed to have just a bit of noise to it. So we're going to let it go. Again, everything uses an AI of some kind to it. And so when it does that, it some places make it fancier, something to keep your mind off of how long it's taking. Now, one of the things that this tool has that's kind of nice is a bokeh. And I say it's kind of nice because it's not as good as if you took the picture and did it with the bokeh in place. If you look at the background, you see just a little bit of a change, not much. Let's take a look at what we got for the face and the eyes. And just look at how many things that these guys have for the eyes. You can whiten the eyes. You can give an iris flare to it. You can make the iris more or less visible. There's your red eye removal. Here's your dark circle removal. You can play with the eyebrows. This is another one that you can play with the defects on the skin, as well as changing the shape. Now, if you look at the image, it smoothed out her face quite a bit, but it did improve the image somewhat. Now let's get into the contrasts. I like to boost the contrast of an image up. But to me, it's now made her more goldy colored than she was before. And there doesn't seem to be anything in here to clear. So let's pop this out again for a second. Pull it back up. See what we get. Some tools, when you start to do things over here, it just assumes that you want to keep it and it doesn't clear quite the same way. So we'll come back over here. Don't think that this did our hair color, but let's see. Nope, hair still looks good. And again, there's a ton of things that they put in here for tools to make photographers' lives easier. Face light can be good if for some reason there's a little too much shadow on there. But again, you'll notice it has ability to change the shape of the face. Let's whiten the eyes just a bit. Let's give it some iris flare. You'll notice just a little bit of flare in the eye. And that's about all we're going to get out of here. Um, this time, for this image, it did not, it does not have a problem with artifacts. But just for the heck of it, let's see what happens if we try to edit the one that's already got all the artifacts and see if something can strip the artifacts back out. I did like what it did with the eyes. I just don't like how it did with everything else. Again, AI is trying to distill down what a photographer would do with an image. And as you can see from the preview, a lot of the noise is going to go away. It didn't get rid of all of it. There's still quite a bit left. But it did a pretty good job of getting the noise. See what happens when we select the face. But again, the goal for me is always the same. I just want the person to look. Wow, that's impressive the amount it took out. I want the person to look like they do. Now, it didn't do a perfect job. You can still see we've got stuff here. The eye still doesn't look quite right. We'll let it do one more render here before we call it a day here. But society or people or however you want to define it have put some expectations on what we should look like. They do it on what we should do for work, how we should act, how we should look. Who cares what they say or what they want? They're not us. They won't be us. And they won't have to live our lives. We are the people living our lives. And we should be and do and look the way we want. There shouldn't be a question about that. So we'll do this one here just quick on the base image, just so you can see that this particular tool, which I used, does a really good job. It just started off with a really bad image. Now, this doesn't make any modifications to anything really. It can do a thing called recover faces, but if you take a look, it did clean things up just a little bit. And where that's valuable is if you end up having to take a picture in not the most favorable light, or if you want to change the size of an image, it has the ability to do that here. Um, I'm not sure what the recover would actually do for this. Let's find out. Wow, it did quite a nice job on that. Again, taking care of things that you might not have control over. For example, natural lighting can be problematic in certain circumstances. You may or may not be able to do something in the environment that you're in to go fix that. This was a photo shoot. There was very little I had control over. The lighting was fixed. We had some natural light coming in as well as artificial light that we had in place. That's why you see the stands in the background and things. So, in some instances, it was very easy to control the shot. And in other instances, you kind of got what you got. But by running it through a tool or other processing, you can actually make the image look cleaner, sharper, better. But the goal isn't to change the person or to change how they look. You're just changing the environment. Now, to me, that image looks so much better that way than this. It was light coming in from all over the place. You had a bunch of different photographers taking pictures because this was a fixed shoot. And I might actually do something a little bit more like that to make her pop and to push everybody else in the background. But again, what I've done doesn't change her shape. I want to enhance her, pull her out from the background. Same with the guys. I want to separate them from all the noise around them, the extraneous crap. They are the star of the shoot. They are the people that I want to pay attention to. They are the people that I want to honor. So hopefully you guys got an idea of, again, certain things that I will not do when it comes to photographs. So if you're looking for a photographer who's going to go in and change the way you look, I'm not going to be a good fit for you. I think everybody's beautiful just the way they are. And to me, capturing everybody the way they are right at that moment is what's important. So I hope this helped. We'll see what we're going to do for next week. I haven't quite decided yet. If you haven't noticed, some of these shots are that I've been posting lately are more boudoir, and I'm going to start doing more of that type of work because, in a lot of ways, it's an extension of what I was looking at with the bodybuilders, being empowering, allowing people to be proud of their body. And I've seen criticism about the way bodybuilders look. I've seen criticism about how everybody looks. I go on social media and people never have a problem saying things about the way somebody looks. There's always going to be somebody who doesn't like the way somebody looks. Don't care. It's your body. You look the way you want to look. I just want to capture it and make sure that we can celebrate that. That's what I got for you this week, and I will talk to you guys all next week.